We're following breaking news out of Minnesota as defense officials tell NBC News the Pentagon has ordered 1,500 combat troops to prepare to deploy to Minneapolis in response to anti-ICE protests. The news coming as sources tell NBC News the FBI is asking agents to voluntarily travel to the Twin Cities for temporary assignments. Anti-ICE demonstrations, meanwhile, show no signs of letting up. And the Justice Department is now vowing to investigate protesters who disrupted a service yesterday at a church where they believed a top ICE official serves as a pastor. Officials familiar with the matter also tell NBC News that the DOJ is investigating whether Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey conspired to impede federal immigration agents. Governor Walz calling the administration's actions a dangerous authoritarian tactic, and the mayor denying any wrongdoing on Meet the Press yesterday.
And obviously it would be deeply concerning if the federal government is targeting someone for a product that is quite literally my job. It is my responsibility to speak on behalf of Minneapolis residents. It's my responsibility to do everything possible to keep our city safe. And so while I haven't received a subpoena or anything else at this point, this should be deeply concerning, not just for Minneapolis, but for anybody out there. I mean, this is stuff that happens in other countries. It shouldn't happen in America.
And NBC News correspondent Maggie Vespa is in Minneapolis, where, by the way, it is dangerously cold outside right now, so she's thankfully indoors for us. And with me on set is retired Colonel Steve Warren, whose more than three-decade career with the U.S. Army included roles leading the Army's global communications efforts, and he is now an NBC News military analyst. Maggie, I want to start with you. You just talked to an activist who protested at that church service yesterday, meaning she is now presumably under investigation, right? So what'd she say?
Yeah, as far as she knows, she's under investigation, Gabe, just based on the broader statements that we've seen. But she said she hasn't been contacted by the DOJ or anybody within the Trump administration to confirm that. So she's leaning on the reports. Right now, she says she doesn't regret anything. If we bring up that video, her name is Nikema Armstrong. She's in the crowd who was at City's Church yesterday. It's a local Christian church here in St. Paul, so the Minneapolis area. And she says the group went there to confront a man named David Easterwood. He's a pastor at that church, and protesters allege he also runs the local ICE field office here. Now, I should point out, we've reached out to Easterwood, no response. DHS also declining, there's that video, to confirm that position that protesters say he has within ICE, saying, in their words, they would never dox an ICE officer or employee. So we have this protest, and now we have the threat of this criminal investigation by the DOJ. Armstrong sticking to the mission at hand, saying that she's furious with ICE's tactics on the ground. She's furious at the Trump administration, and she's not scared of this investigation. Here's part of what she told me, Gabe.
They have turned Minnesota, and particularly the Twin Cities, into a place that is under siege. It feels like a military occupation at times, and at times it really is. I mean, the amount of violence that has been perpetuated by ICE agents against everyday, ordinary residents of the Twin Cities is absolutely unconscionable and outrageous.
Now, I mentioned that statement from DHS. I want to read you another part of what they said about this protest in particular, telling us, quote, agitators aren't just targeting our officers. Now they're targeting churches, too. They go on to say, we won't be deterred. ICE isn't going anywhere. So, Gabe, just another example of how these protests are kind of narrowing and shifting on the ground as these tensions just continue to mount here in Minneapolis. You know,
and Maggie, about that troop deployment, we're talking 1,500 active duty soldiers who've been ordered to prepare to deploy. So we've also learned that the FBI is asking agents across the country to voluntarily go to Minneapolis, as we mentioned. Give us an idea of how big the federal presence on the ground is there and how big it would be if this all comes to fruition. The Minneapolis Police Department, as I understand it, is just a few hundred officers, right?
It's 600. That's a great point to make. So right now we have about 3,000 federal officers, and we talk about ICE, Border Patrol, and just other DHS departments on the ground. So Minneapolis PD is already far dwarfed by the amount of federal officers that we have here, by this federal footprint. Then you talk about, let's add potentially 1,500 active duty soldiers, 2 battalions from the 11th Airborne Division, if this comes to fruition. And we should point out, defense officials stress, just because these soldiers are kind of being readied, it doesn't mean that anything's been decided. It doesn't mean that this potential that the president has floated of invoking the Insurrection Act here in Minneapolis is indeed coming to fruition. They called this, in their words, prudent planning, but that would be about 4,500 if this does happen. And then we have these FBI agents as well, and we're being told by 2 sources with knowledge of the matter that agents across the country have been asked to voluntarily take temporary positions here in Minneapolis. One source telling NBC News that the kinds of jobs they would do here on the ground are investigating people, for instance, who are accused of assaulting federal officers, ICE officers included, investigating instances of potential theft or vandalism from FBI or federal officers' cars. We have no indication as to how big that swell of FBI officers are, but we're talking, again, well above 4,000 if this were to happen. Again, compared to Minneapolis PD, it's a great point, about 600 officers. So this was already historic when the Trump administration first sent in 2,000 ICE officers. It's ballooned since then. It could balloon again, Gabe. It's huge.
Maggie, you've asked about live for us in Minneapolis, where, again, it is dangerously cold. Thank you to you and your team for the reporting, and stay warm. It is well below 0-degree wind chill, as I understand it. Thanks, Maggie. Colonel Steve Warren here with me on set. Colonel, so many questions here. You just heard Maggie talking about the potential for these active duty troops, which would dwarf the size of the Minneapolis Police Department. What would these troops do if they are deployed to Minnesota? What role would they play?
Sure, there are many possible roles. The last time, Gabe, that U.S. troops were deployed to an American city under the Insurrection Act was 1992 during the Rodney King riots. U.S. troops were then used to prevent looting, to help calm the masses, to help quiet down the rioting that was going on. So it was a very clear mission, and by the way, it was very, very successful. In this case, we haven't seen looting, to my knowledge. We haven't seen a lot of out-and-out rioting, sort of the targeted destruction of property that we saw back then. So what I think you would end up having to see is perhaps the U.S. military being used to create space between the federal agents who are conducting their duties and the protesters who are not happy with it.
And you heard Maggie reference the Insurrection Act. The president hasn't said whether he would invoke it. If it were to be invoked, would those troops need to adhere to U.S. law, domestic law, military law? How would that work?
That's right. They're under military law. The U.S. law, military law, the law of land warfare, all of these things can be confusing. Ultimately, U.S. soldiers conducting U.S. military missions are subject to what we call the Uniform Code of Military Justice. It looks very much like regular U.S. law, but it's enforced by military commanders. The Army has its own, the military has its own prison system. It has all of this. So if any soldiers were to violate law, they would be punished, or they would face justice through the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
And are these troops trained to patrol U.S. cities?
Well, that's an important question. These forces, U.S. war fighters, are probably the best trained and most disciplined forces you'll see anywhere. But there's a very good reason we call them war fighters, right? When we train these troops, we use words like lethality, violence of action, close with and destroy the enemy. This is what these forces are trained to do. They're also, I think it's important for folks to know, they're a very young force, right? Your average infantry platoon, which is who would most likely be on the ground, is probably 18, 24 years old. That's the average age, led by a 23, 24-year-old lieutenant. So they're well trained, but focused on force.
So there are a lot of hypotheticals here, admittingly, but Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, he has said that he would potentially deploy the Minnesota National Guard to help maintain peace. Is there some situation here where you'd have the the National Guard troops and the active duty troops? Could they be squaring off against one another?
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'll put a reputation at stake. Absolutely not. That will not happen. It's the worst possible nightmare scenario. It will not happen.
Well, actually, I'm being told we're out of time here, but Colonel Steve Warren, thank you so much for your expertise. We really appreciate you being here as we try and sort out all the different possibilities here in Minneapolis. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Gabe.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.